you care about children and young people's views in Scotland? Well, I do. Today I'm here at Bute House along with colleagues from the Scottish Youth Parliament and the Children's Parliament to meet with the Cabinet Ministers, First Minister and Deputy First Minister to discuss children and young people's views in Scotland.
Why would the views of children and or young people be of any interest to the so-called powers that be? Oh yeah, that's right, because since the overhaul of the education to indoctrinate the youth of Scotland, to encompass nothing other than talking points laid out on a plate for them, to turn them into little globalist, pro-diversity, pro-multicultural activists, essentially. So now, these children will express their views. These children will tell the government what they think that government should be doing. And the government will pretend that the children are the ones that have laid it out all for them. The children get their 5 minutes of fame. The children get to feel good about themselves temporarily by being convinced that it was them that are responsible, for pushing the government in the right direction. We've all heard the jargon from all over the shop these days in relation to the children being the voice of reason. Isn't it convenient that the children being the so-called voice of reason seems to coincide rather conveniently with the bullshit that you're now being taught in school? I left school in 2014. This stuff wasn't happening. So this must have happened just after 2014. 2015? 2016? Oh, what a shock. This is the third annual meeting apparently at Bute House with the Boot, Nicola Thinlips and Rainbow Unicorn Land, so it makes sense realistically.
The Cabinet meeting is an annual formal meeting between the heads of government of Scotland and children and young people. And Scotland is the only country in the world where this happens.
What a shock. What a effing shock that is.
Cabinet's meeting that takes place with children and young people is a landmark event in the year for the Cabinet.
We gathered young people's views
Did you get excited, John?
through talking to them and surveys, and then we took these together, looked at what the most common responses were, and then fed them back through a sheet to the Cabinet.
The topics we discussed were specified by the children and young...
Oh, they were specified by the young children. How are you going to get in the blame? That was the children who came up with these ideas. Just all the children. We're just merely here to listen to the views of children. Don't look in my direction for why these children come up with these ideas. Oh, no, I'm just Baldy Swinney. I'm just here for the landmark occasion.
people.
And what Scotland's young people told us that they wanted us to bring to the Cabinet meeting were issues like...
Who cares what children think? I'm sorry.
Bereavement and support for bereaved young people, the incorporation of the UN Convention on the Rights...
Oh, what a shock. What a shock. It was the children's idea. Oh, it was the children. The twisted my arm. Oh, the twisted my arm.
The child.
Legacy of the Young people, especially around, youth work services and cuts. We also covered music tuition, mosquito devices.
Poverty, bullying and relationships with teachers.
Important for children in Parliament because the adults want to hear about children, so what better to hear it from than children.
Scottish Government is committed to children and young people's rights and hearing their
That's so.
voices, not in a tokenistic way. This is a genuine engagement and a real
So genuine. There's nothing malevolent about this.
dialogue, and I know that ministers
First country in the world that really care about its people, eh?
really value it. We really value it as civil servants. We hear a fresh and different perspective which we wouldn't get any other way.
The Scottish Youth Parliament is the democratically elected voice for 12 to 25-year-olds across Scotland,
Oh,
so we serve to represent and empower the voices of young people in all issues that affect us across Scotland.
Because that is what is important. They need to be empowered.
Yeah, Children's Parliament is an organisation that allows children to have a voice and allows children to be who they want to be and be the best person they can be.
And you're telling me that they couldn't do any of these things, bar maybe the first one, prior to 2014?
We have done a lot of good work in Scotland on children's
That's debatable.
rights. We reported just recently on what's happened in the last
Because the UN told you to.
few years since the Children and Young People's Act came in, and we put forward an action plan for what's to happen over the next
Something to be proud of.
few years. The core of that was children and young people's meaningful participation in decision making and holding power to account. And this is
Yep, fill their head up with bullshit about climate change. get them to go out and protest and pretend that it was them they twisted your arm. They're holding you account. They're holding the power. They're holding the people in power. Sorry, to account. All right.
It's just the perfect.
I mean, that in itself showcases how BS this whole narrative is, because we're not telling me that these people in power wouldn't have known of all of the things that the children are holding them to account to prior. You know, so why didn't they act beforehand? Why the 5 and the 6-year-olds and the 7-year-olds are holding them to account, and all of a sudden they're now going to supposedly do what's best for the country? They should be doing what's best for the country anyway, should they not?
Illustration of that happening.
And when we say that we want government to listen to us, there's no more bold example of doing that
Oh, so bold.
than just sitting us around a table and being in that face-to-face conversation with them.
You useful idiots.
The fact that they do progress reports and updates from last meetings and previous meetings, that shows that they have, taken on board what we've told them and actually tried to...
Yeah, sure they have. It's not like you're reiterating exactly what they wanted you to say.
Make a difference to, all the issues that we brought up.
Their willingness to sit in front of...
Ball prick.
Considered, and I feel just really good about myself that my work has paid off and I've been able to feed back to a group as high as government.
And it helps to spend time with young people. It keeps us focused on why we're doing this job. And,
Calm down.
Making the country a better place for children and young people means...
But there's no children being born, record low birth rates. Who could all this be for? Oh, I wonder.